Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of My Hollywood Story. I am Stacey Wilson-Hunt. Another rousing experience we had at our show this season featured Emmy-winning actor Niecy Nash-Betts, who recorded her interview in front of a live audience at Neuhaus Hollywood. It is not an understatement to say that Niecy brought down the house with her humor, her tears, and unbridled honesty. What follows are her responses to a wonderful round of questions from those in attendance. Our first question came from a woman who wanted to know, what has been the most challenging part of Niecy's career for her to navigate? This was one of my favorite moments of the day, as Niecy recounted in a very, very funny way how she once managed a childcare challenge at an audition.
Well, I had children early. I got married young. I met my first husband when I was 18 and married him when I was like 20 or 21. And I started having kids right away. You know what I mean? So navigating how to, Lord, please don't let me get a call back after 3 o'clock because now I got to take all these kids up there. You know what I mean? And I was just telling somebody, one time I went to an audition and there was a girl there with her sides, and I was like, hey, girl. And she was like, okay, hi. And I'm like, where you from? And she's like, basically like, lady, read the room. And I'm doing this, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get myself together. And they said, Niecy, we're ready for you. And I had my baby. And I handed a strange white woman I'd never seen in my life, my child. I said, girl, could you hold this for me? And she was like, wait, what? I said, I'll be right back. And I was going there and said, Lord, please don't let this white lady steal my baby. Now I'm on a Lifetime movie, So trying to do it with the children was, trying to make all of that work out. It was, but the 3 words that I lived by during that time were no matter what. I go to an audition crying because me and my ex-husband had a fight. No matter what, you're going to go in there and still be funny. You got to take all 3 of these kids and set up this casting office like a preschool in the corner, no matter what. So I pushed through.
Our second question came from a man who asked, what has been the most inspiring thing someone has said to Niecy at the exact moment she most needed to hear it? Ava DuVernay, the award-winning director and Niecy's good friend, figures prominently in her answer. Let's have a listen.
It's interesting because, what's your name?
My name is Lawrence.
Lawrence. It's interesting, Lawrence. Because I was going through something, and Ava DuVernay, I called her, and I'm saying whatever this thing is that I'm going through, what I'm experiencing, and bop. And she said one word. She said, onward. I said, ooh, onward, friend. Because things are going to happen, and I feel like, and now when I'm in a place where something don't go the way I wanted it to, I didn't get the casting, I didn't get the thing, and so whatever it is that didn't work, there is still something else ahead of you. And so we live in a space in my household now of onward. So even when my spouse is like, man, they did this, they did that, and I go, and she go, yep, onward. So I think it's all because it always reminds me that there is so much more still to come. So I think that's it.
Question 3 came from a fellow parent in the audience who had a 2-part inquiry for Niecy. How did she balance being a mother while also being on set? And what advice would she give her as someone who is trying to broaden her opportunities in Hollywood beyond her current work as a stunt performer? Listen in as Niecy talks about how creativity is key to managing the logistics of parenting and how, quote, showing up with your full self at all times can open up unexpected avenues for artistic growth.
I feel like when you are walking in your calling, there will always be provision for the vision. You know what I mean? You just got to get creative. You got to figure it out because every circumstance is going to be different. You know what I mean? If you're doing a job that you are recurring on, that's very different than if you have to be there every day. You know what I mean? I work with Alice Borstein right after she had a baby. Baby, them people put a whole nursery up in the wing of that hospital for that girl. And the person came and sat there with that baby till it was time for her to nurse the baby and do everything. It just depends on the job. It depends on the thing. But you can't be afraid to get creative. You know what I mean? You have to get creative with how you move around with the children. And with regards to that, what you're talking about, do you know Jeanette Branch?
I do, and she's amazing. Yes.
JJ Branch is my stunt double. She had been my stunt double for many years, you know what I mean? And she makes me look amazing. She came out of retirement for me, for grotesquerie. But, even with that, when she transitioned and said, I want to move into acting, this is what I want to do. She was doing stunts for me. And I had a role on Ricky Fez where I went to jail. And I was like, I know the perfect person. You know what I mean? And I referred her, and they booked her and all the things, I would say that, and she's a prime example of somebody who was doing stunts and wanted to transition into acting. She's a good resource for you to actually talk to because y'all are doing the exact same thing. So I would say reach out to her, talk to her about her transition, talk to her about, how she specifically bridged and merged those two industries to make it work. You know what I mean? And she's just one of those people who, like, if you work with the same person enough, more than likely they will end up finding a way. You know what I mean? And I just have to give a shout out right now because this cute thing right here, raise your hand, Miracle. Miracle was my stand-in at All's Fair. But I have never had a stand-in like this to the point where the script is memorized. She's not saying the part. She is the part. So much so that everybody took notice of it. I mean, you'll be walking past the camera and be like, oh, go on, Miracle. Look at Miracle. Such a professional, had the outfits down, had the words down, the language down. And as soon as there was a part, it was like, well, what about Miracle? You know what I mean? And then she had to get somebody to be my stand-in because she had to come to work. But show up with your full self and all your gifts, and you keep telling the people that are around you that is what you want to do. You know what I mean? And even when you go and you do everything with your stunt coordinator, who's in casting? Can I give you my information? Da 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 da. You know what I mean? You have to keep doing it that way.
Our final question was another two-parter. This one from a man who wondered, how does Niecy manage what he calls her, quote, spiritual hygiene when taking on mentally and emotionally taxing roles? And what would Niecy's 5-year-old self be most proud of in terms of her professional accomplishments?
I try very hard not to live in the thing. But I learn stuff from my characters. I take stuff from my characters. We very much have an exchange. I always try to find our intersection. That's how I start. What do we have in common? You know what I mean? And then I go from there to figure out how they move and what they're all about. But I'm usually pretty good at being able to tap out. But again, being married to Jessica, she is my soft place and my safe space and my, way to, get on the other side of it. And now I was filming Dahmer and Reno 911, a movie at the same time. So that was like from set to set. Put the sideburns and the booty on and then go over here and put my glasses on and start crying, Jeffrey! All of that stuff. So, I think I have to stay prayed up. You know what I mean? And I have to understand when it's really, really time to let it go. I stayed in a character so long one time that the person I was with, like, I don't want to be with her. I want to be with you. And I was like, ooh, take it off. Take it off and don't live in it. So I have to be very, very intentional. You know what I mean? And then also too, I have to grieve them if we were that tethered when it's over. You know what I mean? Give myself room for that. Because if you don't let yourself feel that, it's gonna pile up too. And then your second question, what would the little girl be proud of? I just think that she did exactly what she said she was gonna do, regardless of all the things, because life be life. And regardless of all of those things, she still, you know what I mean? She still got that Emmy, still got that star on the Walk of Fame, still got that Critics' Choice, that NAACP, that this, that. She gonna get that Oscar. She gonna be the thing, you know what I mean? Broadway, get ready. You know, I don't know. Whatever the things are. She did exactly what she said she was gonna do, and there's still room for more.
We hope you enjoyed this special installment of My Hollywood Story. Stay tuned for more bonus episodes and brand new interviews coming very soon. Thank you so much for listening. My Hollywood Story is a production of Hippolyta Films and Entertainment. It is produced by me, Stacey Wilson Hunt, along with Sonia Slutsky and Wendy Green. Series producers also include Daryl Young and Janet Grayson. Our sound mixer is Luke Tierney, with camera by Ramiro Cantu. My Hollywood Story is edited by Nathaniel Wixon, with original music by Madi Gabriel and Jenny Carr of Moon and Star. Our logo design is by Brad Mitchell, and I'd like to give a special thanks to Champion Turf. My Hollywood Story is sponsored by Mattel Films and recorded at Neue House Hollywood. If you like what you hear, give us a follow, leave a review, and let us know what you think.